Alright, so I'm going to show you really quickly in Photoshop how to make this super janky glass textures for use in Maya with just random, Arnold texturing. First thing I did, I found a random eyeball thing online to use as my sticker. I have no idea what the usage rights on this are or where it's from. I literally just wanted something super quick to use for a tutorial cough. So, I masked off the actual eyeball itself, and then this is going to be my sticker. I'm just painting away all those gross edges to get something a little bit less terrible looking, positioning this somewhere where I think it maybe will be on the front of a sphere, and then putting a little white stroke around it so that it gives the impression of like a cut vinyl sticker. The next thing that I'm going to do is this glass is theoretically supposed to have some kind of Sharpie marks on it, so these are some pretty janky Sharpie marks. I'm just drawing in a random blue color, and I didn't really know where these were going to show up, so I just, sort of squiggled everywhere like a crazy person. I don't really know. I don't know why I did this. It looks really weird, but whatever. So the next thing I'm doing is just sort of adding a random background color to this, and I know that the white part is currently going to be glass, so it doesn't super matter what color that is, but I just sort of like making it, white or some sort of other neutral color, so in case for some reason it does show through, you don't see it. This is what the texture looks like on my sphere, so I'm just rotating this around so that you can see the sticker. That's kind of what it looks like, from the render view. So far, so good. So I'm going to group all that stuff, call it my color, and then I'm going to duplicate that group and work on the transmission. So transmission is the glass value, and for this, I basically am just adding color overlays and changing the color of the stroke for the sticker so that it is black or with not clear, no transmission, no glass effect. The white background should be fully transmissive or white, and then the Sharpie, I didn't really know what to do with that. I just made it slightly not transmissive, question mark. Do make sure to tick alpha as luminance, and now we have a very strange looking glass texture with our little sticker on it. So I just sort of started playing a little bit with the index of refraction just to sort of see how things would end up looking. My background is not necessarily super conducive to rendering glass, which is why I added this checker texture to hopefully make it a little bit more obvious that it was clear, hopefully. Full disclosure, I'm not super happy with how this texture turned out, but I was trying to do something quick for a demo just to sort of show the mapping of textures. So I went ahead and I duplicated that again, and then I ended up adding, I have no idea which map I'm making here. Oh, yes, okay, I was making the specular color map, I believe, so that the Sharpie would, like, a lot of times if you look at it, it has this, like, weird, it's not like a white reflection, like, the light will change color on the Sharpie to, like, reds and purples and blues. So all I'm doing here, normally the specular color will be white unless it's metal, or apparently Sharpie, so I'm just taking the Sharpie, I locked the alpha so that I'll only draw on the areas that already have blue on them, and then I'm just scribbling over this like a crazy person with some random colors I considered to be Sharpie-esque. Whatever that means, I don't know. Apparently, I was feeling yellow that day as well. Anywho, so this is my specular color map. This is sort of like a weird optional thing that I did just because I wasn't happy with how the Sharpie looked. I'm like weirdly obsessed with Sharpie, so you can see now that like as we rotate this, it's it has a little bit of that like additional color in it, additional visual interest, just for the Sharpie element specifically. So I was also adding some roughness just to see what values I might like for my roughness channel. And I wanted the sticker to be matte and the glass to be relatively shiny. So the sticker I just very lazily made full white, again by changing the color overlay and background. And then the rest of it I wanted to be not like totally shiny because it's not super realistic, but just like a little bit rough. So I made those some sort of darker variations of, whatever color I was using. For this map, make sure that you're ticking alpha as luminance, otherwise it will not show up correctly in Maya. For the bump map, I basically just copied all my stuff again. The sticker, again, I want to be white. And in this case, my edges were a little bit janky, so I tried, just for fun, to add a little outer glow to see what that did to that, just to very slightly round the edges. Honestly, I don't think it really did much. And then the rest of this, I basically just made 50% gray, or the equivalent of don't have any raised or lower areas in it. And then I just added a bunch of way too aggressive squiggles on this, just to simulate scratching. I did a really bad, super quick, janky job of this. Doesn't look that great. But you can see, again, it does add a little bit of visual interest. I think I also decided that those were significantly too dark, and I decreased the opacity significantly on those so that they barely show up. And a lot of times you can do the bump maps, like you need very, very subtle value changes to actually make them show up, especially for scratches on something really shiny like this. Like, they're just gonna catch all the light. But yeah, so I just sort of twiddled with a little bit of settings. I didn't really do any maps for extra roughness, and I think at this point it was mostly sort of at a point where it was finished, and I was just trying to, like, do the lighting and, like, mess with a few other random things. There was some major sampling issues with this, I think partly from the extra roughness, and I ended up getting rid of that setting, but the rest of this is mostly just me noodling with settings, trying to adjust the light in a way that I thought showed the textures off better. And one thing I was looking at was two things. Sort of, you can see me playing with the sort of shape of the reflected light to try to get something that I liked a little bit better. I ended up not really liking that for the most part. And then for the main key light, I was also trying to show off a little bit of more of the sticker, so that you saw a little bit more shadow from that and a little bit more variation on the matte sticker versus the shiny background. I did make the color pink just so I could see what I was doing. That is not a final color for that light. And then I just messed a little bit with the intensity and positioning and size of that light once again, just to try to get something that I thought was maybe a little bit less horrendous looking. But either way, I mean, this texture is like a little bit, it's pretty janky looking, to be honest. But, you know, yeah. The rest of this is basically just me applying all the individual maps and organizing my file structure, apparently. But basically just applying all the maps one by one, so metalness only, roughness only, transmission only, that good stuff. Just to see sort of visually what exactly each of those maps are doing. So like this is my bump map, you know, without any of the extra stuff, sort of cluttering things up. And that's pretty much it. So hopefully somebody found this vaguely helpful. Yeah, enjoy this creepy eyeball video of me just, you know, messing with my renders for the rest of this.